Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I have some of my favorites and these are very carefully curated. Like I really try to focus on what I've been enjoying as of right now and things that I have been holding near and dear to my heart. I did already record this at the beginning of August and the video wasn't supposed to be posted until the end of August, so a lot of things have kind of shifted, and so I decided to re-record. The first plant that I have to show you guys is my Wavy No ID from Plant Care. This leaf, if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen this leaf multiple times throughout this month, just because I have been posting it left and right, and you guys can see, like, I'll insert some of the footage that I got the first time that I filmed this. It was so small and it like sized up so much, you guys. Like, this is it fully hardened off too, by the way. Like it's really thick. I wish that this plant didn't harden off in such a like basic manner, I guess is the way that I would word it. Not that this is basic, because it's like definitely giving, you know, like the way that the veins fade out towards the end of the leaf margins. Like, it has its quirks, but like the true magic of this plant is in the emerging leaves. Like, as you watch them. When I received this plant, it actually had a new leaf, and I kind of just ignored it and like didn't really pay attention to it, and that leaf actually ended up getting burned by my burina. But I just like rarely even paid attention to that new leaf, and so I feel I definitely regret not paying attention to it. But with this new leaf, I definitely have been like watching every single stage. Like literally, I promise you, every day for like almost 2 weeks I would get up and just go straight to looking at this plant, because it shifts in so many different stages that you literally have to watch every single one. It starts out at this like beautiful red emergent leaf, and it'll slowly, as it like gets bigger and bigger, it'll slowly turn into like a more bronzy toned leaf, and then from there it'll kind of start to get some of that green in. It'll sort of shift into a like blue huey stage, kind of like how begonias have that iridescence, like especially the Sarawak has this. There's only a couple times that I've been actually able to capture it, but especially on this video that I'll probably pop in, you can really see the blue around this area right here, and then underneath it has like this bronzy pearlescent. It's just so beautiful, and all anthurium leaves I feel like deserve that amount of attention, because they are just so fascinating when they first come in. And this plant, like, you guys can see this size up as well. This was the leaf before, and the leaf that was unfurling after this one, that leaf was only a little bit bigger than this. Like, it wasn't much bigger than this. And now to have this gigantic leaf, like, look at my hand, it's literally the size of my hand, and like compared to this one, like, it's just so, oh, I love this. And also I did this here. It was like stuck in the sheath, and long story short, I ended up nicking this, and yeah, it is what it is. I'm not too mad at it. I do hope that someday I can get a leaf on this that doesn't have damage, especially these older leaves that are really starting to take a beating. But yeah, this thing has been so resilient, so easy to care for as well. Honestly, I leave a reservoir in this cup about like this big, and it's been so freaking happy. And I will say that with this mix that Plant Care has it in, I believe it's a lot of chunky perlite, tree fern, cocoa core, cocoa husk, and that's about it. Like, he doesn't really put a lot in this mix, but it is very chunky. Like, there's hardly any water retention in here, so it allows me to sort of keep a reservoir in this, and this anthurium has just been loving it so much. But yeah, I feel really happy with this, with the growth on this, and with my experience with this plant, because it's just been so easy. And I believe Plant Care actually said that this is a, well, it's presumed, they assume it's a mag cross. He has like a wavy boy mag, he calls it. It's just a beautiful specimen of a magnificum. And then he has a purple mag OS, which is a purple, they call it purple mag OS because it's a magnificum crossed with an ace of spades that has a purple shift to it. And I'll pop in a reel that he took so that you guys can see that. But it is just so freaking gorgeous, you guys. And like, to see where this thing came from, like, it's kind of crazy. And I can't wait to see the mature leaves too. I was actually like fangirling over this plant with Green Sheen on Instagram, because we both have one, and hers Hers is a gigantic specimen. I think hers is actually flowered for her as well. And I can only hope that one day mine will flower too. But yeah, this plant just has so many freaking quirks. And if you have one of these, if you bought a wavy boy or if you bought a wavy no ID for Muso plant care, trust me, you need to keep an eye on those emergent leaves because they are so freaking beautiful. And I just am so happy to have this in my collection. And this was a plant that I was definitely like watching throughout August. Like I promise you, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know I was freaking being annoying with this plant because it was just like so ridiculously beautiful. That one was definitely first on the list. Now, we have some good options here. You know what? Let's do this one. This is my fry deck, which I did have originally on this list at the beginning of August, and the reason that I put it on the list to begin with is because it actually went from sheath to caterpillar stage. Like both of them, there's two plants in here. So there's this small plant which has this leaf and then the other plant which has all of these. And both of them have turned into a caterpillar stage, which is so freaking, oh my god, like this plant truly still to this moment excites me so much. And I have this underneath my, also where this anthurium was, underneath one Barina light in this bottom shelf. And this thing has been so happy. I think the key that I have recognized with alocasias is light. They need a lot more light than even I ever realized until this moment. And I am just so happy that I finally figured these out. And I just, oh my god, I'm so thankful to my Barinas and along with my Sansi lights too, because they just have allowed me so much growth and so much happiness with these plants. Like especially with alocasias, I struggled to understand these for so long, and I feel like this is a plant that definitely took me a while to finally get down, and I feel like I finally have the recipe to make these be successful for me. The one thing that I will say, if you are struggling with alocasias, give them a really chunky mix, like something that you would give a orchid, just something really chunky, really barky, really perlite heavy. Like right now I have mine in pawn, and give them a lot of light, like more light than you ever even realize. Like this leaf is like right up against my Barina. You guys can see it's just now starting to get some of that like light bleaching right here, but I'm telling you, this plant has been loving it, and it's surprisingly kept the two leaves. Like I honestly am pretty sure it might drop this one soon, but we'll see where that goes. Enough about that care. I can also answer any questions you guys have down below, but this is the newest leaf, okay? Feast your eyes for this, okay? It's not anything too big, but this is the biggest leaf that I've ever gotten on my fry deck, and just like look at this. Oh my goodness, I am like dying. When I saw this, you guys, I was done. I was like, what in the world has this plant done to me? Like, look at this. Oh my goodness. For a while now, I've been feeling like I have thrips, especially on this shelf where my Sansi bulb, oh my god, especially on this shelf where my Sansi bulbs are. And before those plants were on that shelf, they were in that bottom one Barina shelf area, and I'm not sure if this is thrips damage. I remember seeing somewhere that this is similar to what thrips do, like they just kind of leave these like weird markings on there. I have not seen any thrips like whatsoever. I haven't seen any adult thrips, any like anything whatsoever. I have been trying to rinse these leaves and treat as much as I can just in case there is, because I'm not really sure. Like I've seen multiple areas of damage. My Micans on this shelf behind me has like scratching on the velvet, and it had like bumps and protrusions, which I know that thrips lay their eggs in the leaves, and so I was quick to treat that as soon as I saw that, but I haven't seen anything progress from that. Like it's just kind of confusing because I don't know if I have it or if I don't, and so I've kind of just been trying to be very careful with these. Still to this day, I don't even know if I have thrips, but I'm hoping that I don't. It has been over a couple of weeks, and I know that with thrips they are asexual, so it would kind of be a quicker infestation than just like waiting 3 weeks to see something, which I have seen damage, but I haven't seen any adult thrips whatsoever. I actually have been thinking about taking these plants out of these vessels. Like, I have this one and then another one that I'll show you in a bit. They're kind of in these vessels that go right back up, which I know is going to be a pain to take these out. I love these vessels, so it's kind of hard for me to let go of that. But yeah, it's just a thing that I've noticed that I'm running into, and something that one of you actually mentioned also, which I didn't even recognize. I just kind of like loved the look of these, and so I started using them. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, this leaf is so beautiful, and I feel like I've finally gotten alocasias down, and I just cannot wait to grow this big and beautiful. Not that it isn't beautiful now, because I truly love this plant, and I think this leaf, well, this plant also, but I'm talking about this leaf here. I love how sharp it is. Like, it's very it's very notched down to like a tip, and you can see how like long that is. I don't think I've had that with these. Like, it's kind of just like a very slow progression, but you guys can see how thin it gets, and then it just like notches right down. I love this plant so much, and I can't wait to experience more growth. And while we're on the topic of alocasias, I do want to talk about this one, which also is underneath my, actually this one's on the top shelf, so it has two Barinas. And you guys, this plant is absolutely loving it. Like, the amount of roots you guys can see hopefully underneath this saran wrap. I do just have this in leca, just because it's what I was rehabbing it in, and it kind of just ended up staying in this. I don't think I'm planning on moving this out to like pond or anything. It's been really happy in leca, and I already have alocasias in pond, so I kind of am like okay with leaving this in leca. But as you guys can see, this is also in caterpillar stage, which again just makes me so happy. The key to getting these to maturity is literally just light, I've noticed, and yeah, they like a lot more light than I even realized, like I said before. But this thing has just been loving life, brooding up like crazy, and honestly it just like brings me so much joy, because this thing was on the verge of, you know, it had one foot in the grave, and it was just kind of like, it's ridiculous how it bounced back like nothing. And yeah, if you are feeling like you don't understand alocasia, definitely try giving them a lot more light, and again, a bit of a more chunkier mix, because although they do like water, they don't like stagnant water. And it's something that I've noticed almost immediately with, you know, alocasias. You also want to give them enough light to use up that water in time, which is something that I wasn't doing with my Frydek. Another plant, which I always show on my favorites, I'm sorry if this was in the last one, but this thing has grown like crazy. It is my Calathea warscewiczii in no drainage, and this is one of the vessels that I actually want to switch out, but for a different reason. This plant is actually throwing out a pup. So if you know the way that Calatheas grow, they'll grow a stalk, and then from that stalk they're really likely to throw out another like stalk from that. And so that's what this has done, and you can kind of see it. Can you? Not really. It's right here. Hopefully you can see that. It's literally like touching the glass, and that's one reason why I really want to get this out, because I feel like the more pups that it throws out, the fuller it's going to get, and I don't want to like stall that by having, like, it's literally pushing up against the glass, so I don't want to have any issues with that. I am going to repot this right after this video. But besides that, this Calathea actually took really well to this repot. These leaves also, if I can find the smallest leaf, which it did lose at least 2 leaves now, but most of those leaves were like a little bit smaller than this. And so remember this, okay? And I grew this from a pup, which, like, I grew all of this growth, all of this size up is due to me, and it just like makes me feel so good. But yeah, this leaf compared to the newest leaf, look at how chubby this is. Oh my god, I love this plant so much, you guys. Is that a thumbnail? Is that a thumbnail or what? Oh my god, like I just I love this plant so much. The purple baxials as well, it has this purple sheen. It's very velvety. The stems, like everything about this plant, just, I love it so much, you guys. I could just sit here petting these leaves all day because they're just so soft. But yeah, and also a really I don't know how I would say this, but like a very even grower. Like it grows very consistently and fast. It doesn't like have weird pauses in between leaves. As soon as it shoots out this leaf completely, it already has another leaf ready, and oh my goodness, like I just love this plant so much, and I'm so happy that it's at least a little bit fuller than what I had before, because this plant, if you have been on my channel for a while, you saw what this was before. It was just one stalk with two, I think it had like maybe 3 leaves at one point. And so it was very like not full, very just like not leggy, but it just like it looked like a sprout pretty much. And so I'm just happy. I guess I'm just happy now that I get to grow a more fuller plant than what it was before. Oh my god, you guys, this plant. Oh, if you guys take anything from this video, besides the Wavy No ID, if you have the chance to get a Wavy No ID, get it. I promise you, you will not regret it. But also get this one. And I know Calatheas are a big controversy in the plant hobby. Just trust me on this. Trust me, okay? Just trust me, okay? Get yourself a Calathea warscewiczii. Give it light, give it whatever it needs. It's also very, very vocal. I think my old one, like the first stage of this plant, I let that thing dry out so much, you guys, to the point where it was a wilty noodle, like, and it picked up no problem. And I haven't let this plant get to that point because I don't want to. I literally baby this plant. It's in this lower shelf with my Brina, and it just freaking loves it, you guys, so much. Okay, enough about this plant, because if not, we'll be here literally all day. So another one that I have been absolutely enjoying this month, it is my Jose Buono, which the first time I filmed this video, this was the leaf that I was so excited about, which I still am, don't get me wrong. I love this leaf. I love the like half moonness, the yin and yang energy. It has like a white patch here full of green, and then a green patch here with white. It's just so beautiful. And ironically, I actually put it in my plant chores video that you guys would have seen 2 weeks ago now. You guys saw me pot this up onto the pole, and I've just been using this as a stand for now. Funny enough, it's a yin and yang cup, so I love it so much. But besides this leaf, okay, remember the size? This is the newest leaf. Do you guys see that? Oh, look at that. Oh my god, it's so chubby, and it's just like really turning into the Jose Buono of my dreams, like with this variegation and just like everything about it. It's such a fast grower, you guys. It's right up there along with the Calathea. As soon as it gives out a new leaf, it already has one ready. So like this one, this is the newest leaf, still hardening off, by the way, and it already has a little leaf starting out right there. Such a beautiful grower, such an easy plant as well. If I were to recommend any like philodendron to you guys, whether you're starting out, whether you're a expert with philodendrons, I would definitely recommend this one. Just such a beautiful freaking plant, you guys. Oh my god, I love it. I honestly love it so much, and I'm so happy that I was able to grow it to this. This plant hasn't been an easy journey with me, at least. I have definitely dealt with some root rot on this, and as I've learned more and gained more experience, I've definitely understood what this plant needed of me, and it's definitely light. This plant loves light. I think this leaf is like right up against my Brina. Of course, if your plant leaves aren't used to it and you put it up right there, you might deal with some burning, but overall this plant is such a good plant to have in your collection. The leaves are also so freaking thick, like almost like a freaking credit card, like it's ridiculous. Now for my maranta, this is my variegated maranta. The reason that I wanted to feature this one in this month's favorites is because I got this in May, and when I got it, it was infested with mealybugs. Like, you guys, it like still to this day it disgusts me so much how much mealybugs this plant had on it at the time that I received it, and I am so like upset with myself for not checking this plant. I don't regret getting it, but I do wish that I knew about those mealybugs before I got it, because it is just, oh my god, it is ridiculous. Like, honestly, it grosses me out so much. I'm done talking about that. Yeah, so it had those, and over the course that I was treating it, this thing got less full and less full as time went on. And that's just because of how, if you have one of these, you know what I'm talking about. It's so easy to knock off a vine and just like have to, you know, reroot it or propagate it. I remember one time it was like sitting on the edge of my desk, not like too close to the edge of the desk, that's not the point, but it was sitting on this side of my desk, and I had my window open that night as well, and Lila loves to, you know, go sit by the window when it's open to just like bird watch. And I woke up and there was just a piece of like a cutting just laying there that I'm assuming that she knocked off. But it just like goes to show how easily you can knock off vines off of this. And so a lot of, you know, the treating and, you know, getting in those like nooks and crannies really knocked off a lot of those vines. And so I definitely had to propagate a lot of it. But I'm grateful for that, because that is why this thing is so full now. Like, do you guys see this? Oh my goodness, I love this plant so much. I actually took some cuttings of it last week to give my brother's girlfriend for her birthday, and I just love this plant so much. I really love the like more highly variegated specimens as well, just because they are truly so beautiful. I don't have too much of like highly variegated leaves on here, but the ones that I do have, I am so appreciative of it. I just love this like red marking on there. It's so freaking beautiful. It honestly adds so much to this plant. Like, just look at that. Oh my goodness. And this thing grows as easily as the like normal maranta, I guess, like the regular green version of this. And yeah, it's just so beautiful, so bushy as well. It's so easy, so easy to get full, especially when you're having like vines that grow like triple freaking vines onto one. Is something that I've experienced a lot with this plant. Like I can't even imagine what this is going to turn into over, you know, by next summer, just because this thing is such a fast grower. I will say this is a plant that I'm planning on putting or keeping next to my east facing window throughout the winter, so it's not going to get too much light. You know, one can only assume that it's going to stall the growth a little bit. If I have the space, I do want to give it the light that it deserves, but right now I just am kind of really tight on space. This used to be in my prop corner before it was in front of my window, but recently I did move my maidenhair fern under there just so it is getting a little bit more light, especially throughout the winter. I did not want to keep my maidenhair fern out here just because I know it would not be getting the conditions that it wants. But yeah, this plant, such an easy plant, and this pot as well. I never really planned to put a plant in here. I never really planned to put a plant in this pot. Why is that such a tongue twister? And so it was just kind of like laying around and just kind of used it as decoration. But now that, you know, this kind of just ended up in here, I love it so much. It sits right up against a like corner, so this back portion is kind of like lifted up against the wall, and it just looks so freaking adorable. It looks like she has a giant ponytail, and I just love it so much. You guys, I aspire to be this. I aspire to be this peaceful and this tranquil and this happy someday, like hugging my cat. Like, oh my god, I just love this pot. My boyfriend got me this and I painted it this beautiful blue color. Yeah, I just adore this whole setup so much. This is my purple passion plant. I almost forgot the name, but yeah, this is a purple passion plant. And I'm not even gonna say the scientific name. It's like Gynura aruntica or something like that. I'll pop it in the screen. But this thing is such a fast grower, you guys. And another plant that if you know, are listening to anything in this video, get this one. It is such an easy houseplant. Doesn't want too much humidity, doesn't want too much heat, appreciates light, and grows so quickly. And oh my goodness, I love this plant so much. You guys, the camera doesn't even begin to capture the like purpliness of this plant. It has like this purple fuzz everywhere, and it is just so beautiful. Such a textural plant as well, so if you're into like a lot of textures, you love this feeling. It's kind of like the there's a peperomia that has a very like, I actually touched it yesterday at my job because I could not resist it. It has a very, almost like if you had a buzz cut, you know, like kind of how buzz cuts feel in your head. not on my head, but like, you get what I mean. If you've ever felt someone's head that has a buzz cut, you feel that sort of like hair that's a consistent length everywhere. It's kind of what this feels like. That's what I was trying to say from the first place. If you like that peperomia, this is right up there with that same velvetiness. I will say that this one is just a tiny bit softer. Oh my god, you guys, it feels so amazing, and it is such a fast, like, the texture, the growth doesn't want much from you. Doesn't mind highlight, low light, can really be fluctuated anywhere between. And this thing, as soon as I put it in no drainage as well, it was just like, what? I'm in no drainage? Okay. Like, and it just freaking went off. But yeah, it's such a beautiful plant. Oh my goodness. Okay, I know I showed this one in the last favorites, but I kind of had to, you know, mention it in this one. It is my Florida Beauty, which, if you guys remember from my last favorites, if you watched that, this is a leaf that I was like boasting about. It is just like beautiful, the variegation, the size, everything. And in that video I mentioned that the biggest leaf before that was this one right here, which this is definitely bigger, but the newest leaf blows this one out of the water. Like, it's just kind of crazy how much this thing sized up. And this is pretty much fully hardened off now. The variegation just has to, you know, do its Polaroid thing. Yeah, I love how it comes out this like beautiful, what would you even call this? Like, it's not chartreuse, but it's like a very light chartreuse. It's like a yellowy, not minty, it's like a yellowy green variegation, and it slowly will harden off to like this really creamy color, which I love either way. But just look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I love this plant so much. And yeah, the size up on this is just freaking insane, you guys. Like, this is the leaf that was the biggest before compared to, like, do you guys see that? Oh my goodness. Oh, and it does have a new leaf on the way here. It did get stalled a little bit just because I did run into some root rot with this plant. Yeah, so I had it in here, too much space for those roots, and so I sized it down to here, and I'm just sort of using this pot to like hold it into this ceramic pot so that it actually fits in here, if that makes sense. But yeah, just thought I'd, you know, mention this one really quickly because this is just so good. I love this plant. And lastly, this is not my plant, but it is definitely a favorite that I have been watching over for a while. It is my brother's luxuriance crossed with radicans, and if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you know what this plant was before. It was really bushy at one point, to the point where I couldn't keep it, so I gave it to my brother, and I put it in no drainage in my like sphagnum mix. It was what I had at the time. It was what it was the only thing I could really think of to like put this in. And yeah, more recently this plant has picked up really well. It's actually rooting into the sphagnum moss really amazingly as well. I'm just sort of keeping this until it's like not completely rooted, but I said I would give this to him when it had a leaf coming on the way, which as you guys can see it does. And these leaves are just so freaking gorgeous, you guys. Like, look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I need to get a picture of that, honestly. But yeah, so I said I was going to keep this until it rooted up or until it gave me a leaf or two, which I think I'm actually going to wait until it gives me another leaf just to give it a little bit more time to root up in here. But this plant, you guys, is just like, it's not a plant that I personally enjoy. I feel like now, after what I've experienced with this plant, I feel like I would want to keep this, but of course it's not my plant. I'm not going to keep it. And this plant is so beautiful, and I feel really proud of all the experience that I've gained with this, especially since it's an, oh my god, especially since it's an anthurium. I've learned a lot from this, and you guys, the chonk on this as well. You guys also saw me pot this up actually in that plant chores video. So yeah, love this plant, and I can't wait to give this back to my brother and it just have like beautiful 3 leaves. And yeah, I don't know how big this leaf will be. It definitely doesn't seem like it's gonna be all that big because of the petiole, but beautiful nonetheless. And it'll get back to this at some point, but yeah, just a beautiful plant. And I don't know if I said what this is. This is a luxuriance crossed with radicans. Honestly, a really easy plant. I've been growing it out in my ambient conditions. I recently stuck it in this lower shelf where I have one Barina down here, and it loved the light, and now I've moved it to my window just to get it to have a little bit more space for this leaf to grow out, because in this lower shelf it did not have as much room, so I didn't want this leaf to get damaged whatsoever. And this also sits right in front of my window, and I did open it quite a few times when it was like, I think this last week we had a heat wave, and I was opening that window to allow some of that like more cool air to come in at night, of course, and literally didn't mind it. Nothing, no damage, nothing. It really appreciated it, I would say. Overall, can't wait to see the growth of this and to see what it really turns into. Alright, so those are all of my planty favorites. Now to touch on one major thing that has truly helped me this month. It is my handy dandy water bottle, which, let me give you a little bit of a backstory. Before I had this jug, I had this like small cup. Maybe I'll pop in some b-roll of it. It's like this big, and I would literally only fill up that cup and use it to water my plants. And then if I had to water more after that, I'd have to refill it, refertilize, add a myco, like all of that into this small little cup. And it was just really tiring, and it would make watering such a pain in the ass, if I'm being honest. And so with this, I have just, it feels like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulder, just because throughout the week, if I need water, I have this already fertilized, already ready to go. Just need some myco in here, which I add a myco as soon as I pour into that pitcher that I was talking about earlier. But yeah, such a underrated thing. So if you have, you know, gallons laying around, whether it's multiple or just one, I recommend to do this. And it's just been, I know it's kind of ridiculous, but it's something that truly has helped me physically, mentally, all of those good things. Another thing that I want to talk about is this month I feel like I have truly grown into this hobby, just because I feel like I've understood what these plants want of me, especially with my alocasias. I feel like I am just, as I'm learning and experiencing more and understanding more, I feel really happy with what I can provide for my plants, and I feel like what I have is enough. Like before, I would feel the need to, you know, have, you know, like a greenhouse cabinet or, you know, a tent or something like that to supply more humidity. I feel like humidity is really put on a pedestal more than it needs to be. If you do not have, you know, high humidity, obviously right now I think it's a little bit different for me, just because in the summer I tend to get a little bit more humid, especially in my room. You guys, this room is like a freaking sauna. When it, you know, especially this last week when we had that heat wave, my room was a sauna. Like, it was hotter in this room than it was outside. So it was just, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I have truly learned a lot in this hobby, and I am eternally grateful for that, just because this whole hobby brings me so much happiness, and more than I think I even talk about. But I've always strived for a happy, joyful hobby, and I feel like I'm finally starting to reach that point of where I feel like I am accomplishing that. So yeah, let me know any of your guys' favorites in your collection down below. I'd love to hear about all of your growth. Thank you all so much for watching, and I truly hope you enjoyed.